I took the plane over the stars and it didn't get me very far. Roll on, my problems, they follow me. And I flew to the moon, but it wasn't far enough away from you at all. My problems, they follow me. Every night I'll close my eyes, all my trouble fade up. Every morning when I rise, I'm just sleeping in this bed I made. One million times inside of my mind, oh, and I can justify, but baby, oh, my problems, they follow me. And all that I discover the way to cleverly avoid the blame, but all my problems, they follow me. Every night I'll close my eyes, all my trouble fade up. Every morning when I rise, I'm just sleeping in this bed. I'm just sleeping in this bed. I'm just sleeping in this bed I made, yeah.
I'm singing backing vocals.
I'm sorry. Everybody, that's funny actually. Let's just go back. Hey everybody, welcome to the DavidNeat show.
And that happens.
I didn't, first ever live, so you see it's live, you know. I didn't turn on the microphones.
That is so crazy.
But if you can lip read, you know, let us know in the comments. Anyways, so today beyond excited to have Almog Kapah here.
All right.
Great musician, you just heard him sing, and let's just jump in. Tell us what you do.
All right. So my main job is singer. That's what I do. I'm singing in wedding bands, mostly for religious people. That's my main job. My other jobs, other projects are Voca People, which is an amazing a cappella group that is very famous worldwide. So that's the Voca People, and I'm working with Subliminal, which is a very famous Israeli rapper, as a backing vocal singer. Plus, I'm working with an amazing singer called Shiri Maimon, which is very famous in Israel, and I'm doing backing vocals to her as well, and other small projects, you know, here and there, like Motown Tribute Band and other projects.
Cool. And tell me, how did you get started? When did you figure out that you want to do music as a profession, or was it like something you always knew, or did you just enjoy making music growing up?
Well, at first, I think music has always been there. I grew up in a religious home, Jewish religious home, and my parents came. My father came from Yemen. My parents are Yemenites in ancestry, so music in house was always there. If it was through me going to a synagogue every Friday, or hearing music at home, Yemenite music, Israeli music. So it always was there.
Do you know that I was married to a Yemenite and my son is half Yemenite?
Oh, really?
Just a little fun fact, and it's the loudest family I know. But really warm.
Yeah,
and
we
good
are.
people.
We are loud and warm as well. So I think I always liked music and always loved doing music and I always enjoyed it, but I didn't think about being a professional musician. I think maybe after I finished high school, I decided that no matter what, I think I'm going to music. I'm going to be a musician.
And do you have like early memories of when I mean, what kind of music do you most like, and what are the earliest memories you have of getting in touch with that? Yeah.
So my the genre I'm referring into and I really love is R&B, soul, all this area of the genre. I think at the age of 9, my brother just joined the army, and so whenever he went to army, so we went there for a few weeks. I went to his room and I found an amazing 3 CDs. The first CD was Jamiroquai, Traveling Without Moving. Was amazing, funky, like a very... have you been in his...
Yeah, I've been to his concert when he was in Israel.
Oh, really?
With the automaton helmet and stuff.
Oh,
which you can actually find online for like $600 or so.
Probably I would buy that because I'm that crazy. So that was the first album I've ever heard. The second one was Get a Grip by Aerosmith. An amazing, had the very famous like Crazy or Living on the Edge or Amazing. And that was the second album I heard. And the third album, which was for me the best album I've ever heard, was Boyz II Men 2. Boyz II Men are for African American guys who sing in a beautiful harmony, and I think in that point I fell in love with R&B and soul. I think that was the point I fell in love with this genre.
What are some hits of Boyz II Men?
Boyz II Men has I'll make love to you like you want me to, and I won't do time, baby, all through the night. And that one of the songs, and the other one is although we come to the end of the road, still I can't let it go. It's unnatural, ooh, and so on and so on.
Would you be open to like switching voices with me?
Sweet. Yeah.
No, I would love to sing like that.
No problem.
What's your training like? I mean, did you take a lot of lessons? Did you just sing by yourself a lot? Did you record yourself? How did you get to this stage?
That's a nice question. I was always singing, not professionally, because I didn't know there is actually there's a technique and there's so many things to learn about singing. So I don't think no, I didn't took any lessons till I was studying music in Rimon after I finished army, and I think in that point I understood that my voice can be way better with a little technique and with a little guidance. So after I joined Limon, I started to take some vocal lessons, and after I finished Limon and went to the music industry, I took some other lessons with different teachers to get different techniques, so I can have a mix of techniques and use it for all the shows I'll gonna do.
So you have like a wider range of expression available to you, something like that?
Yeah. I learned a few techniques. So, for example, one of the techniques I've learned is rock singing.
Okay, so what's different about rock singing? And if you can illustrate, I'd love that.
Rock singing, we learned how those amazing singers sang with the edge and all of this technique. And well, I cannot explain the technique itself, but for example, Chris Cornell, the amazing Chris Cornell, was singing a lot from his
By the way,
nose.
shout out Chris Cornell, you rock.
Yeah, but you're also dead, so we love you and rest in peace, Chris Cornell.
All your
Chris
fans
Cornell.
should definitely watch our show.
So Chris Cornell, amazing Chris Cornell, was singing a lot from this area here. So whenever he sings and he goes high, you can sound this. This is the sound he does. Has a lot of voice coming out of here. So we figured it out, and that's how he sings. Freddie Mercury has almost the same technique. Almost the same. Goes a lot from his nose, from this area. The voice goes. That's how you can maintain your voice without getting it ripped or something. So yeah, I've learned this, and I've learned other techniques as Stevie Wonder's technique and Michael Jackson's technique, which it's pretty hard to explain in a few minutes how this technique works, because this is a work in progress. You'll have to find the right places and then sing from that right place.
But what does it allow you to do? For instance, I mean, most of the really famous pop singers sing really high, right? Michael Jackson, I guess Stevie Wonder as well. So yeah, like what does the technique allow you to do? Is that really expanding your range, or is that something you're born with?
Actually, it does. I think it widened my range, like way more than it was. In if we'll talk in musical technicality, if I had like 2.5 octaves when I started to sing, today I have almost 4.5 octaves, which means my range was way wider to the low voice and high voice.
Demonstrate.
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 So from the lowest point of me can sing till my highest point, even though I'm not warmed up, would be That's how I got this big and wide range through learning all those techniques and using them for my benefit.
And can you like properly articulate them like throughout your whole range? I mean, because I can make like sounds, right? But I can't sing there or speak. Like, is that?
Well, I'm not using the really high octaves. Maybe for improvisations and runs and riffs that I do usually, but not as much as I do. Mostly I sing in my middle range, middle, low, and middle high range. That's the bass I'm going through.
And in terms of learning to sing and improving, if you'd like, is there anything you'd recommend to somebody who just starts out, or to your former self, if you could go back in time, something like you should really try that?
Invest more, or maybe quit smoking. That would be an amazing. I mean, you future singer, if you wanna sing good, if you wanna maintain your voice, stop smoking. Don't smoke. Unfortunately, I cannot say it about myself because I'm a smoker. Not as big as I'm not smoking a pack a day, but still, don't smoke at all. If you can not smoke, quit smoking, and your voice will be way better, way clearer.
Okay. So no smoking. And you said invest. What do you mean? Like invest a lot of more time, money, find
Time,
best
money.
teachers in the world. Like how do you find them even?
I don't think you need to find the best teacher in the world because it's I don't
There's
think
no
there
such
is
thing.
there yeah, there's no such thing, and if there is, I don't think you need it. You can go to every good and recommended music vocal teacher, vocal guide, and he will do that for you. You don't need to go abroad to find the perfect vocal teacher.
Without naming people, but did you have horrible vocal teachers where you say like looking back they basically weren't good, or did you have like especially great ones, and then what makes for a good one and a not so good one, if you want to decide?
Well, when I started to learn one of those techniques, I studied with a teacher, like an amazing teacher. She brought one of those techniques to Israel. I don't know how this technique is called today because I know they changed it. Our mutual friend Tigran is teaching in that.
Yeah, he's a
that
certified
technique.
like
He's a
teacher for
certified.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
as
So
well.
I when he started teaching that, I learned at not at his I wasn't his student, but I was Aramat's student. Aramat Hagenheim is a very famous vocal teacher here, and I learned from her this amazing technique.
All right, cool. So let's just do a quick wrap up, right? So you fell in love with music very early. It was just something always there. You got 3 CDs of your brother when you went to the army.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were Jamiroquai, Boys to Men, and what was the third?
Aerosmith.
Aerosmith. Ah, so that's the rock and does he also sing like a lot here, like you said about Chris Cornell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he has an amazing voice and crazy. I mean, he gets so high. His vocal cords get so high. I'm like, that's inhumane, you know?
Yeah.
That's not human. But, there are so many talented people out there. So.
Right. Also, I've always find it fascinating how different voices are, because you can recognize voices like you can really recognize them. Like now that I know your voice a little bit, I think if I hear it, I know it's you.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there everybody's like kind of different, and if you find your voice, then that's fine, right?
Totally.
But did you also try to imitate a lot of the sounds that those your
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I think at first as a singer, you imitate the people that influence you mostly. So I started to sing like Chris Cornell, and I started to sing like one of the guys from Boys to Men. I tried to sing like John Legend, and I tried to sing like a lot of singers that I found amazing and influenced my influenced my music. It influenced me, as a person.
Yeah. Now, also, I personally, I was always, I was like close to tears sometimes. I listened to music as a kid already. It's just something I love. And even though I'll probably never be like a great singer, it's just so much fun to, it's, yeah. And that's actually why we do the show, because I just want to share the love of music with all you guys out there.
I totally agree with you. I mean, when I was before I started singing, I was a player. I played the piano, I played guitar, I played drums. I loved music, but from the other side of it, to be the one who plays it, not to be the one who sings it. I think in my 20s, I understood that I can do both. I can play and I can sing. I don't have to collide one another.
And how did you understand that?
After I've seen many people who plays and sing at the same time. So I said, why not combining those into Almog?
And if you started out as an instrumentalist, how come you're now mainly a singer? Is that your gift? Is that what people most want to hear? Or is that which is also most fulfilling to you today?
Well, it started when I was in Rimon. In Rimon, you have a thing that sometimes you have a big grass over there. So you can sit there and play guitar and sing and whenever. And I think one of those days I was sitting with a bunch of my friends in Rimon, and they were like playing and singing, and I don't know, I just joined and started singing with them. All of a sudden, everybody stopped, and I was like, why are you stopping? Keep playing. What's going on? And they were like, dude, you can sing.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, what? Really? No, I wasn't. It's okay. I'm not a singer. I'm an amateur. They said, no, dude, that's not an amateur. That's semi-pro. You
Well,
should
that's
do
awesome.
something with that. You should do something with that. And I always refused. I was like, no, I'm not that. I'm not a singer. I'm like, I loved being on drums. I loved being a player. And I think maybe I was terrified by, sorry. I think I was terrified by going to the front because I had so much pressure and like all the eyes are on me.
Yeah.
All eyes are on me, and so
If you're a
like,
singer,
dude,
if you're the lead singer and you screw up, everybody will know.
everybody will know. If I'm the drummer and I screwed up in a thing, nobody will notice because show must go on, you know. So it was a really frightening and scary thing for me. But I think after a few months, I mean, after I finished my first year, some of my friends actually convinced me that I should go and do that and go for audition for singers.
Well, I love your voice, you know. I told you before, like, I think they did the right thing.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll tell them that if you hear it.
Yeah, guys, thank you for for pushing him. Yeah, so then in terms of your next steps, what would you see in the future? What you like to see? Where are you going? Like, are you writing songs? Are you recording? Do you want to keep doing what you're doing?
That's a really, really, really good question. I have no idea. I mean, I'm not writing any lyrics, unfortunately. I'm writing some music from time to time, but actually at the moment I'm not doing it. I'm not doing with it anything. So I don't really know exactly what it will be in 5 years. I have a lot of offers on table, but none as how do you say it, singer songwriter or something like that, but more as events and shows that are already scripted and.
Like the vocal people,
For example,
like
or stuff
established shows where you can join.
Yeah.
And do you enjoy doing that, or would you
Actually, yeah. When I don't need to control everything, and I don't need to manage everything, and I just need to be there, do my best in my frame, you can call it. That's it. For me, is way better, and to see those smiling faces in the crowd, and to know that they're enjoying themselves. I don't need anything else other than that.
That's a really, really powerful story, you know, because oftentimes people want to be in the front, you know, like especially the singer types, you know.
Yeah.
And they have big dreams, they want to do this and this. and it seems that you just love doing music.
Yeah.
And that's it. You're making music.
Yeah, for me, it doesn't matter how I will do that, but as long as I do music in any kind of way, just let me enjoy it. Don't make it. I don't want to make it a job, even though it's a job and I make living out of it and everything. But I want it. I want the music feel more like my soul, other than a job. So I come to have fun instead of I'm coming. I'm going to work. I'm going to have fun. That's my state of mind in that thing.
You just touched on, making it a job, and many musicians and also aspiring musicians, they do barkeeping and whatever. Like, what's your background? Like, did you have to do like 3 jobs, like the cliche thing?
Oh yeah, I was a waiter. I was a music instruments seller. I was a backliner. I was an audio video technician. I was a constructor, not constructor, but I was renovating houses and everything. You know, like doing drywalls and
Yeah, I
such.
did that a lot when I was young.
I actually done like almost of any kind of job that there is that I don't need a degree for it. I think I've already done before I became a musician.
Also, many of the construction jobs, especially the hard ones, like where I don't know what it's called, but this scaffolding maybe, like when they renovate houses from the outside, they put up those metal poles and walkways so that you can walk around.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I know those.
in German, it's Gerüstbau. So I did that.
In Hebrew, it's pigumim.
Okay, so if whoever knows what it's in English, let us know. But
I think scalps, maybe. I don't know. I don't know the word for it.
it could be. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but it looked like the only people who wanted to do that were people who were just got out of jail and didn't get jobs, because they were like all on steroids and tattoos,
Yeah.
And but they paid good money because nobody wants to do it, and it's if you do it for a decade, basically your body's gone. It's like, because all this heavy metal stuff carrying around all day long,
Yeah.
it is not healthy.
No.
But it paid really well, and yeah, so that's one of the jobs that I did.
I was at the same point. I needed money, and I needed money fast. So I was working there just so I can get a little money, so I can like start living on my own.
Yeah. So when did you finish Rimon School? Was that like 10 years ago or so, or 8?
Yeah, 10 years ago almost.
And you've been living off only music ever since, or were there like a starting period where?
I think it took a year or so till I started working as a musician. At that year, after I finished Limon, I didn't know what will be, how it will be, and I had to find a job because I couldn't sit at home and doing nothing. So I was talking to a lot of people that I know if they can hook me up with a job or something. So I started working as a waiter in a coffee place pretty close for almost a year. And through that, I went to be a constructing guy and technician and backlining and everything that I could.
Well, you must actually be talented if you have this wide, range of different things you did, because they all require some learning, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. My father was a handyman. My father is still a handyman. He's still alive. So my father is a handyman. So everything he know, I learned. I learned through watching him doing jobs, and sometimes he let me help him a little bit. So he told me like cut this or take that or attach that,
Yeah, we definitely have that in common. Like my stepdad, actually, my grandfather from my father's side, he was a carpenter. But
Oh.
so my father is also like he does everything in his apartment. He did by himself.
Yeah.
But my stepfather built a lot of stuff from wood, and we lived in the rooftop, which used to be a storage only thing, and we built the whole thing when I was a kid. I kind of grew up
Wow.
on a construction place, so
Nice.
that's also where I picked up most of the stuff. But then, recently I did something with just a cable, like a normal nonsense, and then there was a professionally and trained electrician, and you know how you hide the cables, and then I was trying to make it fit exactly, and he came, he's like, "What are you doing?" And he just took the cable and like instead of cutting it to fit, he left it longer and then just did it like once back and forth inside. And it's like those little things, that
Yeah.
professionals that just, yeah.
I know exactly what you mean because when I first started working as a technician as a technician, I was thinking the same, like cutting the cable, and he said, "No, don't cut the cable. Just put it inside. That's okay. So you'll have a spare." Well, what's the problem? As long as we don't see the spare,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
I find it so interesting that those are the small things that are not intuitive, but once you've seen them once, it's like, of course, that's how you do it,
Yeah, and plus there is a big reason for not cutting the cable, because after you need to attach it back to attach the connector back to the cable, and then you can do some mistakes while welding it back to its place. That's why they prefer don't ever cut the cable unless you don't really have any other option.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So that's a very big tip for
All the aspiring
all the
electricians.
handyman people out there in the world. Don't cut the cable unless you have no other option. Don't cut the cables.
Cool. Now, in terms, okay, so if you would be able, I mean, we spoke about vocal technique and learning, but just as a general life tip, looking back, what would you say makes the difference? Because you're living off music and you've been touring the world more or less with
Yeah.
successful shows, and what made the difference? Like, why do 80%, 90% of musicians mostly teach a little bit and they're not like super happy? They don't really do what they love, and yeah.
Well,
Is it talent? Is it drive? Is it a mix of all? Is it luck?
I think it's a mix of all and luck. Because, well, to be accepted to this and that and that and that, there is a level of a singer or a drummer or any kind of instrumentalist that you need to be. Like below that, it's not professional enough. When they look for a professional, they need it to be in this level. When a musician is not reaching this level and it's right over there, it will be very, very hard for him to make any progress, career-wise, money-wise, and so on and so on. So
it sounds like you need a base level of talent so that you can actually reach those levels.
I don't think it's a base talent. I mean, it can be a small talent, but you invested your talent. You learned, you practiced, you trained, you do all of those stuff to get to the professional level. If you won't get to any professional level, you won't get any job.
Could you say like those are the 5 things for a singer to be professional?
Yeah.
Or what would they be?
Always there a place for improvement. So that's the first thing. You need to know that you're in let's say level 5. There are tons of levels up there. So if you're in level 5, you need to reach to level 15. If you're at level 15, reach to 50. reach 200, reach to 200, reach to 1,000. Doesn't matter. Just never stop. Don't stop. If you got to a good spot, your inspiration should be higher. You should aim higher all the time. All the time. There is no musician who's not looking for any improvement. There is no musician who's not seeking for that. Even the best musician in the world is always training, is always practicing, is always trying to make something new. You know, so to be a professional musician, you need discipline, you need practice, you need assertive, because you need to sell yourself somehow. So you go to people, you introduce yourself, you play, you sing, you do whatever you need to do to get to this point when you get a job as a musician. It's not easy. I didn't say it's easy, because nothing comes easily. Nothing comes easily, and we know that. You'll have to work. You'll have to work hard, and even harder than you would do for any other job. Because there is a so-called competition, you need always to be better than you were like a week ago or 2 months ago or a year ago. Always improve yourself and be assertive, and then maybe you'll eventually get a music gig.
So that's the basically constant improvement and a lot of effort, actually.
Yeah, doing a lot of job, and don't give up ever. You'll get a no. You'll get a lot of no's. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of musicians. I know a lot of actors and everything that they went to audition. 2 weeks later, the management called them and said, "I don't think. I'm sorry, but you're not what we're looking for." That's okay. That's okay. You need to understand that you can get a no, which is fine, because it's like any other job interview. You go to a job interview, you can either get it or not.
And do you remember your first paid gig, and the process to get it? How many no's did you get to land your first paid gig?
Well, I think I got like 4 or 5 no's before that. So the 5th time, actually, one of my teachers in Rimon called me, and he said, we have an amazing project with 16 shows inside, and I want you to join the choir. And I joined the gospel choir, the Israeli gospel choir of Ofer and Iris Portugali, which basically doing like Jewish gospel music. You should check it out on YouTube, on Facebook, Ofer and Iris Portugali and Makelata Gospel. You'll see it. So that was my first paid gig, and it was amazing because, gospel, which is a genre that I really, really love. And to get this opportunity was an amazing step for me, as a paid gig, as a musician, as a singer.
Cool. And did you do like many auditions, lots of no's? Like, what were some of the most painful ones?
Yeah, I mean, that mostly was like small bands who pays a little. So they tested me, but I was how do you say that? With no experience. I was unexperienced. So when I got to the audition, I freaked out. I was I'm so under pressure that my performance wasn't good. at the first 4 times, because I didn't know those people who I'm about to join. So it was such a pressure on me. So I think maybe because the pressure and the bad performance, that's why I didn't get in. And the fifth gig, the one who called me was my teacher in Rimon, and he already heard me, so he know exactly what I sound like and know how am I singing. So it was pretty easy to get this gig because he already knew me.
So yeah, well then again, it's really helpful if you sing a lot, then people will know you, and then
Yeah. Today, I mean, in this in the media, we have Facebook, Instagram, all of those platforms that you can go by yourself and upload a video like we're doing at the moment. You can upload a video of you doing a cover, doing an original, and hopefully out of it you can get some gigs. I mean, today it's way more accessible to musicians than it was 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, also, now that you said, about those horrible performances, I also remember when I was a kid, I was playing cello, and I had like just for the students, but it was a little more serious because it was for people who wanted to or were considering to study music in university. So, but it was in the music school. It wasn't like, the test or anything.
Yeah.
And I remember there were even, like, my family was in the audience, and I was so excited. I couldn't tune the thing when it came to, like, there was like a difficult part where, you need to, the closer you go, the further you go up, the closer the distance between the fingers gets. So it becomes harder and harder to really play and tune.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have frets. And then I think there was because there was like half steps, and instead of 12 I played 13, and there's like a bunch of stuff going wrong.
Yeah.
And in the end I just ran out of the whole room. It was like, I was so embarrassed. I was a kid, but it's it was not fun.
No.
It was
Pressure is always not fun.
Yeah.
I hate pressure.
Do you still get stage fright when you go on stage? Do you still feel it, or you're just excited and it's gonna go well? Or
Well, I had it. I mean, I was participating at Kapah, which is the one of you who doesn't know what Kapah means is some kind of reality music competition that the winner is representing Israel in Eurovision. So I was participating 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, 2 years ago it was. And when I got my audition, in front of the judges and in front of cameras and audience, I was so stressed. That my voice wasn't good. My vocal cords were so dry. The pressure got me so dry. I was so dry. I drank like 3 gallons of water, and it didn't help at all.
Wow.
I mean, I felt so dry. It was so hard, and
Wow.
it came up with a very bad performance. I didn't move. It's like
tense.
freezing in my spot. And
Yeah, it's
when
like a fight-flight response thing, right? It's like,
yeah, it didn't go well.
wow. I wouldn't have thought, because it was already after 6 years of performing.
I know, but I don't know, something.
Oh man,
about
you have to do it again.
something.
You
something
have to
about-
do it again. You have to.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know, but something about cameras and TV show, and I know that I'm in front of TV show is like
Okay.
something happens out of it. I cannot explain it.
All right. Well, it sounds like most of your experience is with like live shows, right? Not TV. So it's maybe just a thing in your head that
Maybe I don't know.
you haven't done a lot of TV yet.
maybe it's a step I need to go. Maybe it's an obstacle I need to pass. I've been thinking about it, maybe to going back only to conquer the fear of this specific stage.
Yeah.
None because of anything else, just because of the fear. I don't care. I don't care about winning. I don't care about being in Eurovision or not. Just conquering the fear. And I think maybe one day I'll go back just to conquer this fear. And after I'll conquer this fear, I'll withdraw with my in this competition.
When you won, you're gonna say, "Thank
No,
you
I don't
guys,
I don't
thank
wanna
you
be-
guys, but I don't need it anymore."
I don't want to be
I'm
the
just
presenter. I don't want to be the presenter of Israel on Eurovision.
No.
No, thank you. That was good enough for me. I conquered my fear here. That's it. Thank you. Bye bye. Take him. He's good.
Yeah. No, yeah. Well, cool. That's an intense moment, you know. I mean, I think most singers' fear is that that's also so really hard for singers because the voice reacts a lot and you have little control. When you're like super excited or sad or something,
You have
you
no
can't
control
it.
whatsoever. Yeah. Unless you maintain your feelings like.
Yeah, you have to control your feelings. Like if you can't control your feelings, there's no way you're going to control your voice.
Definitely.
That
Definitely.
is, yeah, that's actually, there's also a big opportunity in that, I think, for singers.
Yeah, I mean, if they get pressure out of cameras or stages or whatever it is, I'll say go and do it. Go and do it gazillion of times. Do it 10 times. Do it 20 times until you won't feel this feeling again. You'll feel safe. You'll feel comfortable. You'll feel confident about that your performance, about everything else. Yeah, just do it.
Cool. Now, yeah, like to me it was great. I think we can wrap it up. If you have maybe something to say to people who want to get started or anything else to add or to play a song or to sing something.
I'll just say it again. I'll just say it again to all of you out there, future musicians. This music industry is not easy at all. Don't think that everything is like comes and goes like this. No. If you won't practice, if you won't get discipline, and if you won't, and if you will never give up, your way towards the music industry will be good. Never mind, there will be a lot of obstacles. There will be a lot of no's. Just don't give up pursuing your dreams, becoming a musician, becoming carpenters, becoming locksmith, becoming whatever you want. Doesn't matter if you're musicians or doctors or whatever you want or wherever you choose. Do your thing, go with it with 150%, and I promise you, the sky will be the limit for you. So have fun.
That's a good end. All right. Thank you, man, for coming on.
Thank you, David, for having me here.
Oh,
Had
man,
such a great time.
It's always a pleasure. Really, really is.
My pleasure.
I can't wait also to maybe record some cover songs in the future or whatever we'll do. It's like, yeah, it's great. Thanks for coming on.
All right.
All right, I'll wrap that up. You guys get to see the intro again so you can listen to the voice. And that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment. Let me know what else you want in the future. And as always, play more music.
Alrighty. I took a plane over the stars and it didn't get me very far. Roll along, my problems, they follow me. And I flew to the moon, but it wasn't far enough away from you at all. My problems, they follow me. Every night I'll close my eyes, all my trouble fade up.
I made. One million times inside of my mind, oh, and I can justify, but baby, oh, my problems, they follow me, and oh, and I discover the way